Okay, guys, so we have reached our final section of circles. So our last section, 10.8, is on equations of circles. It's pretty easy once you see how to do it. It's probably the easiest one. Maybe even easier than the first section. I think you guys will like it. Also, after I go over the notes, I'm going to go over a little bit how to get you started on the monster circle puzzle, which is a really fun one. So let's get started. So an equation of a circle. As we defined in the very first section, that a circle is the locus of points in a plane equidistant from a given point. So it basically means like all the points that are equidistant from a given point. So this right here is the equation of a circle. Let's talk about what some of these parts mean. Let me grab a different color. First of all, R represents the radius. So the radius of the circle always goes there. Then we have HK is the center. So here and here is the center. H is the x coordinate of the center. K is the y coordinate of the center. And then in some cases, the x and the y, you end up plugging in values. Typically for the actual equation, you want your x and your y in the equation, but you'll see in some of the examples that if you're trying to find an equation given a center and a point, you do have to sometimes use the x and the y. So this is just represents a point on the circle. Okay, so I'm just going to do a few examples. We're just going to use that equation to write some equations, and then in some cases you're given the equation and you have to identify the parts. So first example, write an equation for each circle. So it says that the center is 0, 0, so that's your h and your k. And then R is 8. So some of you may be able to go directly to the answer, but I'm just going to show the plugging in first. So it's going to be x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 8 squared, which to simplify that, clean it up a little bit, it's just going to be x squared because x minus 0 is just x plus y squared equals 64. And that's it. That's your answer. That's the equation for that circle. Next one, here's our h, here's our k. So again, I'll just plug in. You can probably just go right to the answer, but I'll just plug in first. So minus negative 2 and then minus 3 equals 5 squared. So again, if we clean that up a bit, I'm going to make that obviously positive because a negative and a negative is a positive. So it's going to be x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 25. And then that's your answer. Okay, sometimes you may be given a graph and asked to find the equation. So I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit because what you want to do here is you want to estimate where the center would be. So to me, it looks like maybe that's about half. And just to double check, you can count like how many units are on each side of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, so that would be the center. That's like a diameter. And then it looks like that line that I was just counting on is probably the other diameter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. So that means that right here is the center. So let's write that. The center would be at about negative 3, 3. So that's your h and your k. And then your radius, since I counted 6 lines on each one, that's 6 units on each side. So the radius is just 6. So then if we want to take that and plug it into for the equation, we're going to have x minus negative 3, which is plus 3 squared, plus y minus 3 squared equals 6 squared, which is 36. So then that would be your answer. Okay, that's number 3. One more of this type. So this one, I don't give you the radius. I give you the center and a point on the circle. So basically, you're going to use that to find the radius. Now, you can either do distance formula, or really, I should have even mentioned at the beginning, the equation of a circle is derived from the distance formula. So you could take this h and k and this is xy because that's a point on the circle. And you can plug that into just the standard form of the equation of the circle and solve for r. It's kind of the same thing as if you did distance formula, you'll see. So I'm just going to use the equation. Why not? So it's x minus h, which would be the same as distance formula, right? 0 minus 8 squared plus 4 minus 4 squared equals r squared. Okay, I'm going to simplify. So this is negative 8 squared, 0 squared equals r squared. So this is going to be 64 plus 0 equals r squared, which I guess really the standard form of the equation, you need r squared. So you could just leave it like this. But I guess just for the sake of solving for r, we'll just keep going. So r is 8. So now I'm going to take the center and the radius, and we're going to plug it into the standard form. So it's going to be x. Now, we don't want to put 0 and 4 in. That was just there to help us find r. Now, the actual equation, you need an x and a y in it. So it's going to be x minus 8 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals r squared, which is 64. And so then that would be your answer. So that's how you do it if you're given a center and a point on the circle. There are a few of those on your practice. Okay, last couple examples. You're given the equation and you have to identify the center and the radius and then sketch the circle. So just do your best when you're sketching. If you want to use a compass, you can, but you don't have to. Just sketch it. So first, the center and the radius. Remember, the x value is here. The y value would be with y. So this is going to be the center is negative 2, 0. And again, that's negative because it's minus. And then since this turned into positive means it was minus a negative. So it's negative 2, 0. The radius is the square root of 16, which is 4. Okay, so now to graph it, you're just going to plot where negative 2, 0 is, just here. And then we want a radius of 4. So you're going to make points that are 4 units from the radius. 4 units up, so there's another point. 4 units to the right would be here. 4 units down would be here. And 4 units to the left would be here. And then just do your best to sketch a circle. Okay, so mine makes it a perfect circle. Obviously, on paper, that's not going to happen for you, but something like that would be fine. Okay, so that's number 5. And then the last one. Center here would be 2, 1. And again, I'm getting that from here. And then the radius is the square root of 9, which is 3. So again, you want to plot your center at 2, 1. And then we want 4 points that are 3 units, the radius. 3 units from the point. So 1 to the right, 1 up, 1 to the left, and 1 down. Okay, and then connect to make your circle. Again, as long as you're, whoa, that's not so good. Good thing for this tool, huh? That wasn't a really ugly circle. So just do your best to sketch it. And that's what it looks like. So that's it. So this 10-8 is pretty quick. So I'm also having you do something called the monster circle puzzle today. And the monster circle puzzle kind of just brings together everything that we've learned. Well, not so much the equations, but everything that we've learned about angles and arcs. It's kind of tricky. So I just want you to try your best. It's okay if you don't get all of these. There's like a mini version of this on your test, which by the way is going to be on Thursday of this week, or maybe I might give you Thursday to review. I don't know. I haven't decided. It's either going to be Thursday or it's going to be next Monday. We'll see. Anyway, so there's like a mini version of this on your test. Very mini, very, very mini. It's like 5 or 6 things you have to find. But it's kind of fun. I know that we did a lot of angle puzzles this year and a lot of you did like it. So just what you want to do, it is helpful to be able to write on it. So if you don't have a printer, that kind of stinks. But I would maybe try to like trace it on paper, like redraw it, but like put your, a blank piece of paper up to your Chromebook and maybe trace it. That'd be the easiest way to make it look pretty good, I think. So you just want to label angle 2 is 89. So remember, like vertical angles, that's going to be 89. then, you know, you can do linear pairs. So you see how I'm already filling in a bunch. Arc CB is 23. So a couple things. Remember that when you have an arc, an central angle measure is the same as the arc. So this central angle 10 will be the same as arc BC. Remember that inscribed angles are the ones that are half. So CB doesn't have an inscribed angle. Remember, an inscribed angle is when the vertex is on the circle. But if one comes up, I'll show you a reminder of what an inscribed circle is. All right, BN. Where's BN? Is it up here? BN is 62. So this is 62. NM is 64. LJ 18. So think about how this is a diameter, right? Remember, on either side is 180, so then you could find ML pretty easily. CE is 63. EG is 57. Okay, you could also find this arc pretty easily because this side is 180 also. So how you're going to find all these parts are, you want to think about the different theorems that we learned. So you want to look for things like maybe two secants intersecting inside of a circle. Like one that pops out to me is like this one and this one. And so remember the theorem that we learned, and I think it was 10.6, pretty sure, where we have like this arc and this arc, and there's a relationship between these two and the angle. There's one thing you could do. What else? When you have, here's another one. How about this? We have this secant and this tangent. Remember that there's a rule that we learned in regards to this angle with this arc and this arc. So you just want to kind of like look at the big picture and look at any secants that you have, or tangents, or inscribed angles. Let me show you an inscribed angle that you could do. So like 25. 25 is an inscribed angle because its vertex is on the circle. So 25 is going to be half of this arc because it's an inscribed angle. And then from there, you can find other things. Remember too, there was the theorem that we learned about when you have a tangent that intersects, a tangent that intersects a secant. So we have like this one. Remember, there's a relationship between this angle and this arc, or you even have like this secant. So this whole angle has a relationship to this whole arc. So just go back and look at some of the other theorems. This is like a good review for your test because it goes over like every theorem that we learned pretty much. All right, so that's as far as I'm going to go. If you end up having any questions for me on this, you can join the Zoom session or email me. If you want to keep track of this chart, you can, but I tend to just fill it in right on the picture. It makes it easier. All right, so that's it. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day, guys.